Welcome to the product overview of Cuttinboard. In this video, we are going to discuss why you need to use Cuttinboard in your restaurant. After that, we are going to explore an example location to examine the ways Cuttinboard can help you and your team get more organized. And as a final step, we are going to create a location from scratch and teach you how you can get the most out of Cuttinboard. Let's get started. Cuttinboard was created to solve a very overlooked problem in the restaurant industry: a lack of effective communication and organization. We know that a restaurant is a business based in a physical location. We also know that most restaurants, unlike office-based businesses, operate during extended periods of the day and also on the weekends. But what does this information tell us? 1. Your entire workforce will never be in the same location for face-to-face communication, like an office. And 2, the segment of your staff that is not present at the physical location is not up to date with what is happening at work. That's where Cuttinboard comes in. Cuttinboard grabs your entire workforce and places them on a highway of constant communication and information sharing. So it doesn't matter if your team is away or at work, they will all be always on the same page. A fragmented team is now just a thing of the past. Moreover, restaurant operations can get very sophisticated very quickly. You wouldn't want to have your entire team in the same group chat. To keep your business organized and communication efficient, you want to create different lanes of communication where each employee is placed depending on the relevance of the topics or on their position at the restaurant. That's why Cuttinboard allows you to create different conversations and avoids distracting notifications that are not relevant to your team. With Cuttinboard, you only have to onboard an employee once, and depending on the positions you assign to them, they will automatically belong to the respecting conversations and boards. We also know that restaurants need to create schedules for the entire team and that employees need to receive their shifts as soon as possible. If you are still printing your schedule and publishing it on a board that only half of your team can see, you are doing it wrong. With Cuttinboard, you can share the schedule immediately by either taking a photo, uploading a file, or sharing a link. If you do not have any scheduling tools, you can use ours. It allows you to seamlessly add shifts for your staff and publish immediately. Cuttinboard also excels at documenting procedures, rules, and processes, and sharing them with your team. With the Notes app, you can expose your team to tidbits of valuable information that will make them more prepared and educated. And with the Files app, you can share important documents with your team, like training files, for example. According to statistics, the top 4 challenges faced by restaurants are high operation costs, staffing, training staff, and retaining staff. And by streamlining communication and organization in your restaurant, Cuttinboard is helping you solve these challenges. But don't take our word for it. Let's visit Mike's workspace and see Cuttinboard in action. Mike is the owner of Lobster by the Sea. He has created different conversations that are making his restaurant more efficient. For example, he created a conversation named Schedule Discussion, where the entire team talks about the schedule and even requests shift exchanges and coverage. He created a conversation called Recognition, where he makes sure that a job well done never goes unnoticed. He uses this conversation to publicly recognize and compliment his team, a practice that has skyrocketed employee morale and motivation and also has increased retention. In the Our Culture conversation, he constantly re-educates the entire team on the standards of the company culture and keeps the bar of excellence very high. He has also started a group chat with his managers and a conversation for servers. In the Polls and Surveys conversation, he drops links to external surveying tools to learn more about his team's feelings toward the job. In restaurant cleanliness, he has created a discussion board to educate staff about the cleaning procedures. He also created a group chat for everyone working in the kitchen and a general chat, a place where team members constantly communicate with each other. But let's move to the Apps tab and see how Mike uses the Notes app. Here, he shares valuable pieces of information with his team. For example, he has created a notes board exclusively for dishwashers and another to pin training video links. On the third one, he explains how the referral program at the restaurant works. He has also created a board called Rules and Systems, where he writes in stone the laws that every employee has to abide by. In the Our Culture Notes board, he has defined the core elements that make up the culture at the restaurant. What notes do you need to share with your staff? The possibilities are endless. On the Tasks app, he distributes to-do lists for his team and also creates personal tasks that he needs to complete to improve the restaurant. In the Files app, he creates different drawers where he shares important files with his team. Now everyone can access training documents right from the Cuttinboard mobile app. Let's explore the Daily Checklists app. Here, Mike has defined a set of tasks that need to be completed every day before closing the restaurant. Every night, before leaving, the team makes sure that the tables are wiped, the floor has been mopped, the grill has been cleaned, the trash has been taken out, the lights are turned off, the alarm is activated, and the door is closed. The next day, Mike simply clicks on the Clone Last button to repeat yesterday's checklist. Mike also uses the scheduling tool to efficiently distribute shifts for his team. When he presses the Publish button, his entire team receives the schedule on their mobile device. From the Cuttinboard mobile app, Mike can also manage his restaurant. He can do everything you have seen so far, from the comfort and convenience of his phone. Thanks to the Cuttinboard ecosystem, Mike is helping fight the biggest challenges he had. The process of training staff has become very efficient because employees have the necessary material on their phones at all times. Retention has increased because everyone feels happier, more engaged, and motivated, thanks to an excellent communication environment where a good job is publicly recognized. The work has become easier to do because the processes and procedures are streamlined and documented in Cuttinboard, and the culture is respected and followed. It has become unbreakable. Mike has built a solid team in which everyone supports each other and moves in the same direction. Operation costs have been reduced thanks to all of this and thanks to more effective scheduling as well. But let's teach you how you can find success with Cuttinboard the same way Mike did. We are going to create a location from scratch. Pay attention closely. When you visit Cuttinboard.com, simply press the Sign Up button. Next, introduce your name, your last name, your email, and create a password. After you sign up, you will see your dashboard. On your Account tab, you can upload a profile picture to make you more recognizable to other users. You should also encourage your team to have a profile picture. Let's go back to the Location section. Press the Create a Location button to build your first restaurant in Cuttinboard. Choose your preferred subscription plan. Then name your restaurant and introduce other optional information if you want to. Agree to the terms and press Create Location. After that, your first location will be created. On your dashboard, press the location card to access it. The first thing you will want to do is to onboard your team. Head to the Admin tab and press the Add Employee button. Introduce the name, the last name, and the email of the employee. Assign the role of the employee. There are 3 roles in Cuttinboard, each with different levels of permission. General Manager. Employees with this role have all the permissions inside a Cuttinboard location. Next, we have Managers. Users with this role can add and delete staff members. They can use admin tools such as Schedule and Utensils. They can be hosts of elements. However, they can't create conversations, boards, or drawers in Cuttinboard. And finally, Staff. Users with this role are merely participants of the elements they are members of. In this case, we are going to onboard Lisa Stevens, who is one of our staff members. Lisa works in the kitchen as a cook, so we will assign her to the cook position. When we click Accept, an email will be sent to Lisa's email address containing a link to get the mobile app and a temporary password that she will use to sign into Cuttinboard. Let's also add our kitchen manager. We assign the manager role and the kitchen position. And let's add Monica, our general manager. Now, what if we wanted to create a group chat that is exclusive to the employees that work in the kitchen? We know that managers cannot create conversations. However, they can host them, and that is exactly what we are going to do. We are going to create the conversation, but Mike will be the one to manage it. On the Conversations tab, we press the plus button right under the search bar. We are going to name our conversation as Kitchen Group Chat. We are going to describe it as this is an exclusive conversation for kitchen workers, and in the privacy level field, we are going to choose linked to positions. Those positions will be kitchen and cook. We press Accept and our newly created conversation appears. We cannot participate in this conversation because we are not a member of it. We do not have the cook or the kitchen position. If we want to belong to the conversation, we could join ourselves as a host, but we don't want that either. We want Mike to be the host. As you can see, he is merely a member right now. Let's press the Set Host button and select Mike. Now he manages this conversation. We have delegated this element to Mike. Linked to positions elements make your work more agile and efficient. Now every employee that presents the cook or the kitchen position will automatically join this conversation and receive notifications on their phone. The same concept applies to notes, tasks, and files. We can create notes that only kitchen workers can see. Upload files that only cooks can access and distribute tasks to specific positions. When you encounter yourself in the Employees Hub, one of the most attention-grabbing elements is the Join this location button on top of the employees list. What implications does it have whether you join or do not join a location? It all comes down to whether you want to be alienated from this location or associated with it. When you are associated with a location, you participate in it like any other member. You belong to Open for Everyone elements, you can be assigned shifts, and you can be reached on chats by the location's members. Some of the time you may want to be alienated from a location for different reasons. The alienated owner can only be reached on chats by general managers, does not belong to Open for Everyone conversations, does not appear on the schedule list, and does not receive notifications from this location. The alienated owner persona usually owns many locations and cannot micromanage every single one of them or has delegated the management of the location to a general manager. The associated owner persona usually owns a few locations and can afford to micromanage them, owns one location and acts as a general manager or owner/operator, or wants to be constantly engaged in what happens in a location. So, should you join a location? Well, you have to ask yourself what type of owner you want to be, alienated or associated. What does your location need from you, and which type will make you the most productive? In this case, let's say we are the owner-operator of the restaurant, so I will join the location as a member. Let's explore the scheduling tool now. Move to the Tools section, right under Employees. Right below the top bar, we have the week selector, which will take you to whatever week's schedule you want to work on. You can filter out employees on the search bar and filter by position on the drop-down next to it. Below, we have our list of employees. Starting to schedule is as simple as tapping on the day of the week we want to schedule for an employee. Let's say we want to add a shift for Lisa on Wednesday from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m., then we would have to press the cell corresponding to Wednesday and Lisa. This will open the Add Shift dialog, which consists of 5 input boxes. On the first one, we select the start of the shift. On the second one, we define the end of the shift. On the third input box, we add any notes or comments that may be relevant to the shift. Next, we select the position the employee is going to be filling for this shift. And on the fifth input box, we can add specific tasks that need to be completed on this shift. When you have defined your desired shift, just tap the Accept button and a new shift will be added. You can tap on the blue block to edit the shift. You can also add more than one shift on the same day for an employee. Once you have designed the schedule you want, press the Publish button and your team will be able to see their shifts on their personal devices in the Schedule app. If you need to make changes, press the Edit button. Be mindful that doing so will unpublish the schedule until you publish it again. No one will be able to see the schedule while you are editing. After you press the See Roster button, you will be able to visualize which employees are coming in the morning and afternoon shifts. First, you have the Day selector where you define the day you want to visualize. The first column is Positions, where you make sure all the positions are being covered for each shift. Next, we see which employees are covering those positions, and after that we see the time employees come in and the time they leave. At last, we can visualize any note that has been made about the shift. The roster view is an excellent tool to help us design our week as efficiently as possible. Let's dive deeper into Conversations. On the Conversations tab, press the plus button right under the search bar. Name your conversation and add a description. Next, select the type of conversation you want to create. As we have previously discussed, there are 3 types of conversations in Cuttinboard: Open for Everyone, Linked to Positions, and Private. For now, let's choose Open for Everyone. Press Accept and the conversation will be created. What does it mean when a conversation is open for everyone? Well, it means that every single employee of the restaurant is a member of it. Let's head to the newly created conversation. On the top bar, to the left, we see the Info button. When we click on it, we can see the name of the conversation, the description, and the level of privacy. Most importantly, at the bottom of the dialog, we can edit the conversation attributes and delete the conversation. Let's press OK for now to exit the dialog. On the right side of the top bar, we see the Manage Members button. When we press it, we will be able to see the members list. You can set a host if you want to. A host will be able to manage the conversation. What if I wanted to create a group chat only for Lisa, Monica, and Mike? Well, that's why private conversations exist. After creating a private element, head to the members list and add members manually. In this case, only Lisa, Monica, and Mike will participate in this conversation. However, owners and general managers are always going to be able to see what is being debated. We just explored the conversations feature, but needless to say that sometimes we need to have a private one-on-one chat with our coworkers. That's what chats are for. You will find it on the third tab from left to right when you log into your location. To start chatting with someone, press the plus button on the left column and choose an employee from the drop-down list, then press accept. The newly created chat will appear on your left column. Let's now create training notes for kitchen workers. On the Notes app, press the plus button. We will name this board Training Videos for the Kitchen. I will skip adding a description, and on the privacy level, I will, of course, choose Linked to Positions, and I will select Kitchen and Cook. Let's press Accept and head to the newly created board. Press the Create a Note button and paste the links to the training videos. Now every kitchen worker that we onboard will have access to these training materials. The same thing can be done with the Files app. Create a drawer that is linked to the kitchen positions and upload your materials. Let's create a task board so our kitchen manager can distribute tasks to the kitchen workers. We linked the board to the kitchen and cook positions. What does this mean? Well, when a task list is created on this board, it can only be assigned to team members that have these positions. Let's see it in action. Press the New Task List button, and let's name it Tasks for Lisa. We need Lisa to cut cilantro and cook sweet potatoes and corn. Now let's assign this to-do list to Lisa Stevens. We press the drop-down, and as you can see, our only options are Lisa and Mike, which are the only team members with the kitchen or cook position. This is extremely useful to avoid assigning irrelevant tasks to the wrong workers. Hit Accept and the task list is created. Lisa has now been notified on her phone that she has been assigned new tasks. Most probably, Lisa will be very busy in the kitchen. She will be using gloves, and opening the Cuttinboard app while on duty is not very sanitary. Well, we have thought about that too. Managers can also complete Lisa's tasks for her as she completes them. Cuttinboard Tasks Management is also a great tool for managers to keep the shift organized and track progress. But there is a problem. Right now, our kitchen manager won't be able to complete Lisa's tasks because he cannot see them. Only the owner, the general manager, and the host of an element can see every task. Members can only see tasks assigned to them. So let's not forget to go to the members list and make sure to add our kitchen manager as a host of this board. Now he can monitor the kitchen tasks every time he is on duty. So summarizing what we covered in this video, we established that you need to use Cuttinboard to improve communication between your restaurant team and to get more organized. We visited Mike's workspace to get a grasp on how to use Cuttinboard to its full potential. And finally, we created a location from scratch and guided you through the steps to use the tools and features inside Cuttinboard efficiently. The best way to learn Cuttinboard is by using it every day. We have covered only the surface. Cuttinboard gives you the freedom to follow numerous paths when it comes to organizing your restaurant. Surprise us with your creativity. You can always access the Help Center if you are feeling stuck. Thanks for watching. We can't wait to see your restaurant succeed.